Welcome to Celebration Conversations. I'm your host, Sarah Taylor Young. Join me each week as I share inspirational conversations with fellow co-writers, artists, and friends. Here at Celebration Conversations, it is my hope that you will find motivation and celebration in your own story. Let's get to it. All right, I am here today with Miss Ashlyn Grayce. Ashlyn, how are you doing today? I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm doing well. It's Saturday morning. It's fall, so can't complain.
Yeah, I'm complaining because of our internet stuff or apps and stuff. I mean, I guess that's just the age we are living in now.
That is, I know. What can you do? Just doing our best.
Yes, yes. So, tell me a little bit about you. And you're an artist, right?
Yes.
Yes. Tell me a little bit about you, who your mom and dad is, how you got into the music industry.
Yeah. So, like Sarah said, I'm Ashlyn Grace, and I'm actually a unicorn, as people like to say in Nashville. I'm born and raised right in the heart of Nashville. Actually, I grew up about 10 minutes from downtown Nashville, in like the Green Hills, Belmead area. And I am the daughter of two amazing people that are also in the music industry as well. My mom is Sherry Cranford, and my dad goes by Dallas Gregory. So no one ever knows that we're related, because you know how the music industry is. You have so many different names, and I go by Ashlyn Grace. So people are like, oh, wait, that's your mom and that's your dad. And it's just, so confusing. But I have, just always loved being in the entertainment industry, especially the music industry. And my mom worked at Sony for 25 years. And so, when other parents are taking their kids to sporting events and stuff like that, which I did do, my family was, taking me to back when it was fanfare. I literally have pictures of like mom running around backstage and her just like handing me off to Alan Jackson and like Brad Paisley and stuff like that. Were like, so that was always so fun. And then she moved over to doing more like PR and publishing, and worked at another record label, and now is doing more of the media side of things with PR. And then my dad owns his own publishing company and help set up co-writes, and does some A&R type stuff, does some artist management, artist development. He kind of just does a little bit of everything. They're both amazing. And then of course I have a little brother too that's in school for music, so we all are bitten by the musical bug and definitely have music in our blood, and it's pretty much like all we know. I went to college for not music, but it was very creative. My degree is in strategic communication, and it was a lot of writing, and I did a bunch of on-camera delivery type classes and a bunch of media and all that. So yeah, I'm loving it though. It's been fun.
That's really, really cool. That's really, really cool. I would have loved to be handed off to Alan Jackson or Brad Paisley at fanfare.
It's funny because I think it was my little brother's baby shower. His baby shower was at a country music singer's house, and like all my baby furniture, Alan and Denise Jackson, they gave it to mom for me and stuff. So yeah, we're definitely, the music industry is so intertwined, and my family definitely loves to be in the center of it all. So
Yeah, they're such sweet people. I remember when I did that concert with Brianna Dominica. They came up to me and started talking to me like they'd known me for years, you know.
my family has never met a stranger. They'll be inviting you over for dinner soon and all that. So yeah.
Yeah, they're just very, very sweet people. And your dad is pretty hilarious.
Oh goodness, he has all the stories, all the
And
stories.
he gets on bunny trails a little bit. Like he'll start talking about that, and then he's like, "Wait a minute, we were talking about this." So, oh yeah,
Yeah, that's my dad.
yeah,
Gotta love
yep. How did you get started in the industry? Like when did you start really getting into everything Nashville?
him. Yeah. Oh goodness. Well, like I said, I kind of grew up in it and going to different events and showcases and when back before it was Sony, it was Arista and my mom was there and I was like the first Arista baby, they called me. And so I like got to do like some modeling and stuff like that and everything. And then as I got older, like middle school age, I was like, do I really want to do like the whole music entertainment thing, or is it just because like that's all I know, just because of my mom and dad? And so I got more like into sports. Believe it or not, people like laugh. They're like, you did sports. I did do sports. Um, but I, was on like volleyball team and basketball. I did cheerleading, like all of that. And so I was like, I don't think I want to do music. And then I remember so vividly my little brother, he's not really little, he's like, 6'4" and like 200 and something pounds. But back then he was little and he was doing guitar lessons. And I was like, let me just sit in and like see what it's like. And I sat in and, the teacher was like, do you want to try? And I tried and I was like, that hurts my fingers. I don't want to do that. Like, so I kind of was like, nah, like, I don't think that's, for me. And then I remember this lady, Kelly Sullivan, came over to meet with my dad about like songs or something like that. And she picked up a guitar and she was just crazy good at it. And I was like, can you teach me guitar and all that? And so she would come over, once a week or so and just teach me like the very basic chords and everything. And, after that, I was like, okay, I like am loving this. And when I was about 14, I wrote my own song. And I remember I went into my dad has an office at home and I came into his office and I was like, Daddy, I wrote a song. And, for a living, he listens to songs. Like, I don't even know how many songs on a daily basis. And he was like, oh, cool. Like, I was like, can I play it for you? And the like four only chords I knew, I sat and played it just like sitting on the floor in his office. And he was like, okay, like that's not too bad. Like, that's really good. And so after that, then, I just enjoyed writing and I started performing out more. And it also brought me and my brother closer because he, has such a heart for music as well. And he's an incredible musician. So, so talented. You could literally make an instrument and give it to him and be like, okay, play a song. And he'll figure out how to play it. Can sing any part of harmony. So talented. So yeah, I'd say like around like 14, 15, I, really was like, okay, like I could see myself doing this.
Very cool. What was your first song? How did you get started with songwriting?
Yeah, well, the first song that I ever wrote, and looking back, I'm like, oh, yikes. But it was called Pickin' Petals. And, you
Oh,
know, about some, middle school crush and all this stuff. Like, does he love me? Does he love me not? But that was my very first, song, if you will.
very cute. Very cute. Did it come naturally, you think, or was it something that you had to work at?
That one, now it's been so long, but I remember it being pretty natural, being like, okay, like this was fun. Like it wasn't, sitting down like doing a math equation or something like that. It was something that I enjoyed and that did feel like it was coming pretty naturally to me.
Yeah. What would you tell like the budding songwriters of today? Maybe they're, in they're teenagers or maybe they're in their 50s. What would you tell them are some good advice to start getting into the habit of writing and songs?
Yeah. Oh goodness. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind, and I feel like it's so cliche, but don't give up. I mean, there's so many times where like I've had so many opportunities that, you know, could have just been like a huge like breakthrough and everything. like so close, and then like last minute, it's canceled, or like I make it to the very end of something and then, they went with someone else. And so it's like you have to be like so persistent, and just it's so, the music industry, as you know, is just so hard. But also just supporting one another, and even if it's something as simple as liking and commenting on an Instagram post and being like, you know what, you're doing good. Like, if anyone tells you the music industry is easy, they're lying, because it's not. So just creating like a network, and I think making connections is so important as well. And going out to events and just meeting new people. And I've met so many co-writers just from going to events and saying, I love your song, like, can we get together and write? And actually that's like someone that, he's a pro writer, amazing, Steve Dean. And like, we wound up actually being put on the same round together at the listening room. And I like had no idea what songs he had written, and we were going through like there were like two other people, and then it was my turn, and I'm like feeling good and doing my thing, and then like wasn't nervous at all, was totally fine. And then Steve played his song, and it was been watching you, the Watching You song. I don't know if you know that, but by Rodney Adkins. And I was like, he wrote that song? I was like, what? I was like, okay, I need to just like go and get off the stage, and he can
Go
take
hide
it.
now.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. But then like after, and I was like, I'm not gonna ask to write with him. Like, he's like beyond like writing with me. And then like afterwards we like, got done, and he like leaned over, he's like, I'd love to write with you. Like, I loved your stuff. And I was like, okay, like. And so just from doing that writers round, like now we write every few weeks and have some really cool songs together. And he's just become such a dear friend. And so yeah, just connecting with other people and supporting one another. That's always what I tell people when I have friends that are trying to get more involved in the music industry and find more co-writers, is just meeting people. And it's just so much of it is connections and everything. So just being able to be outgoing and say, hey, like, I love your stuff, like, let's get to know one another, let's write. I think that's so important.
Yeah. So what is it like being in the room with a hit writer?
Oh,
Talk me through that process. How do you prepare mentally? How do you prepare going into the write? What all do you bring? Coffee, pencils, all that jazz.
yeah. Well, the first time I wrote with Steve, I was so nervous. I was like preparing so like different music ideas, different like lyric ideas, just hook ideas, like literally everything. And I always love being early. Like, I cannot stand being late. And which is like, so like everyone always associates like musicians to be late and never on time and everything, but I just like cannot do it. And so I always, especially with writes, I always like to get there about 30 minutes early, just so I can like get in the zone and just like prepare and everything. And back when ASCAP was open, like pre-COVID, like they all know me so well up there and everything. And I walk in, they're like, room 2, like, you're good to go. And so just getting there early and coming in with different ideas, because it can be intimidating. But one of the things I love about Steve is that he, even though he's such a pro writer, it's he takes the time to listen to my ideas and really work with them and everything. And so just, that's another, I have written with Kesey Timmer. I don't know if you know him, but he wrote Yeah Boy by Kelsey Ballerini. And that was another one I was like, oh my goodness. And I remember I was like, we wrote it, what publishing, he signed with a publishing company that's like, it's not on Music Row. It's like in a random spot. And again, I like to be early, and it was just like, I could not find the place, could not find parking, realized that I had hit like the wrong number for him. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I was just, having not knowing where I'm going and being late and everything, I was just like felt so frazzled.
Yeah.
But he was just so like welcoming, and if you know Kesey, like he's just so nice. He's very like just so outgoing and like loud, but in a good way, and like just is always laughing and everything. So it was a great time. But yeah, I've also written with like Victoria Banks, who's has so many songs, and that name also might sound familiar to people because she was just on Songland too.
Yeah.
And so she's amazing as well. And Jay Brunswick, who has, so many songs recorded by huge artists. And then the first the first, I guess, biggest pro writer that I had written with, my very first time was Dave Robbins with Black Hawk, and he wrote The Bluest Eyes in Texas. And that was another one I went into, and I was pretty nervous and everything. And it's so silly. And he's like good friends with, we know like his whole family, and mom and dad are good friends with them. And I remember so well, we were like in the right, and I was like 15 or something. And
Wow.
he like pulled out he had like brought snacks or whatever, and he like was like, "Do you want some?" And I was like, "Okay, we're friends," because like you don't just share food with anyone. So I was like, "Okay, like I think we're good. I think we're good." So it's just so silly, but just going in back to how do I prepare? Just making sure that I'm coming in with ideas, whether it be musically, lyrically, the hook, and definitely some good caffeine, some water, a couple snacks won't hurt either. So yeah, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, something Cherie Spoltori told me. Shout out to Cherie, I love her.
Yeah, she's
When I sat down to write with Brian White, my producer for my next album, he's got like 20 number one hits in country and Christian radio, and I was telling Cherie like, I'm nervous about this situation.
uh-huh.
What can I? She said, "Baby girl, they're your friends." So if you just go into it knowing, okay, they're my friends, they're here to
Yeah,
support me, and if they're not, then it might not be a right fit, which is
exactly.
okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. I have, some friends that I, dearly love, but it's like, we can hang out and do all this stuff. And then like when it comes to writing, it's like, you know, it's not, the greatest fit. And it's kind of like a puzzle piece. You kind of have to like, see who you work well with, and, who jives well together. And then, then you kind of get like your writing circle up where you're like, okay, I know I work well with this person, and these people right here, we always get great music. And with them, I get great lyrics. So it's kind of like a puzzle that you get to put together and figure out.
Yeah, I mean, it's so vulnerable too when
It
you're
is.
writing.
Yeah,
So
it's almost like a therapy session.
yes, so you
A
really
free
have
one.
a free one. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That you have to pay for like millions, sometimes lots of money for demos and everything.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh
so true.
gosh. But yeah, you definitely want to find somebody that you click and jive and probably has similar ideas as
Definitely,
you,
for
you know,
sure.
similar goals and everything. Um, Tell me about some of your cuts and explain what a cut is to our listeners. What are some of your favorites?
Yeah. Okay. Well, a cut is pretty much when, you write a song and then another person records it. So then they'll, release it as a single or put it as, one on their album. So I've had several like independent cuts. Maya Jones, who it was so funny because I wrote this song when I was like, I think like 14 or 15, and, so old. And I remember my dad being like, someone's recording it. And I was like, no way. Like, I totally even forgot about that song. A recent one, Ashley Puckett. And it's actually funny because my mom has a cut on there too, on her album as well. So that was pretty cool. We got to celebrate together, that
Yeah.
we got a song on this girl's album. And last night, or my parents are like night owls, and I was in bed at like 7 on a Friday night. it's fine. But I woke up with a text and mom's song like made it in the Music Row magazine. So go mom if you're watching this.
Yeah.
But yeah, several just independent artists. And I remember the band Perry's not done anything in a while, but back when they were like real big, I had a song and it was on hold with them. And then they didn't choose it to go on their album, which was a bummer. But again, it's just all about, not giving up and just keep on going. And you might have things that are so close and then they don't work out. But that was still really cool for me to say, hey, like my song was on hold with the band Perry. And then the show Nashville was looking at one of my songs, back when it first came out. And then there was literally 30 seconds on my website and they wanted it to be like brand new and like no one had heard the song at all. And I was like, it's 30 seconds. Like, please, I'll go take it off. So yeah, some bigger cuts that were so close, but right now I'm just, grateful for the independent ones because it's still, artists are still liking my music and wanting to, put it out there for the world to hear. So that means a lot.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your music. You have your debut EP, Something About a Song,
Yeah.
came out last year, right?
Yes. Or no, I think it was actually 2018. It's been like
Okay.
so long.
It feels like forever ago right now.
It
I mean, this
does.
year feels like.
Oh my God.
So tell me about that inspiration. How old were you? How did it come about?
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm like, how old am I now? I guess I was about 22 when that came out. 21, 21, 22, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wrote that some I wrote by myself and then there were others that I co-wrote with some good friends. And it's pretty much all just about, my life. I have obviously some love songs on there and some breakup ones. And then one of my favorites, it's called 601. And that is about my childhood home that I grew up in, right in like the Green Hills area. And my parents bought it right when they got married. And it was pretty much just falling apart. And they completely like redid it all. My dad can do literally anything and rebuilt it and added on and like hand painted stuff in my room along with my little brothers. And, we had handprints in the driveway and the concrete and stuff like that. And so I happened to be driving by the house, like after mom and dad sold it. I had been driving by and there was literally a bulldozer just like going straight through it. And I was like, being emotional, I was like, oh my goodness. And I didn't think it was going to hit me that hard because my parents had been saying that we were going to move ever since I was in 6th grade. And we actually moved when I was, I think, a freshman or sophomore in college.
Wow.
So whenever they said we were going to move, I was like, no, we're not. Like, we're not going to move. And then I was actually visiting my cousin in New York. And Hunter, who's my little brother, he called me. He was like, Mom and Dad just put an offer on a house. And I was like, no, they didn't. And he's like, yeah, like we have to be out now in like a month. And I was like, what? And so yeah, after that, like still I was like, it's probably not going to bother me. Like it's going to be fine and all this. And then when I saw it just like being ripped down and everything, I was like, I'm not okay. And so I was literally just like crying my eyes out in the shower. And then I like got this melody idea and this like, different lyric ideas and just jumped out and put a towel around me and grabbed my guitar and like sat on the bathroom floor and wrote the song in like 30 minutes. And so that was really special and important to me. And so the whole song or the whole album, I feel like really, shows who I am. And I'm working on releasing another single because now I'm married. And so I got married fairly young. I mean, I didn't think so, but other people thought that I was so young. And so there were some people that didn't have like super nice things to say about it and that weren't super supportive. But, I felt in my heart that I was doing the right thing and, that I found my person. And again, going back about like therapy sessions, I was writing with Troy Castellano and Brett Mandel, who are also like great friends. And we were starting this like up tempo, like really grooving song. And I was like, I'm just not feeling it. I was like, I'm kind of upset. And I was like, people keep acting like I'm like 7 and I'm getting married and like I'm not. And, I don't know, why people are saying that I should be doing this and this and this. And then Troy was like, well, who's to say, when to get married and who's to say when you're supposed to have a kid and all that. And I was like, can we do a different song? So my next single will be Who's to Say. Just all about, you just doing you. And it's going to be awesome because my husband also does photography. And so he's doing the album art and stuff like that. My music.
No worries, no worries. So I listened to I Need to Feel This. That man, I just I had almost tears coming down my eyes when I watched that video. Where did that one come from?
Yeah, so that one was, I think I was like a freshman in college, and I had just gone through a breakup, and like any girl was upset and emotional about it. And I had come home and I was like, I think I saw him out and, blah, blah, blah. And my dad and my brother, they have, their best interests. Like, they totally didn't mean anything by it, but they're like, you need to let it go. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, it's not worth being upset over. And I was like, I just need to feel this. Like, just let me feel this. Just let me be sad. I'm all about like, feeling whatever you're feeling and then like you'll be good. But sometimes I just need to be sad. Sometimes I just need a good cry. And so I wrote that one with Evan Thompson. And that's where that came about, was that experience. So hey, at least I got a song out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that song for me, I could have really used that song. I went through a miscarriage before my daughter Olivia was born. If we hadn't been trying, I probably wouldn't have known, but still it was, a miscarriage nonetheless. And it was still grief. And I just wanted to run away. Every morning I would wake up and I would think, is this my life? And yeah, I would have Carrie Underwood's This Is Just a Dream in my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think people, they need to feel that pain in order to get over stuff. We are kind of a society where we just want to run away and hide from stuff, but that's not healthy. So kudos for you for just saying, I need to feel this.
Well, thank you. Yes, I'm all about being in touch with my emotions.
Yeah, you really have to be, especially as a writer.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Definitely.
sometimes in life it's just, yeah, it sucks, especially with this COVID stuff going on right now. But
Oh, yeah.
you know what? If you don't feel it and get through it, you're not going to heal from it.
Exactly.
You know, um,
100%.
yeah. Speaking of that, tell me about something that you feel like you've overcome in your life, since this is kind of the theme of the podcast.
Yeah. I feel like one of the things is back in like middle school and everything, I wasn't totally sure of, who, like what I wanted to do with my life. And especially like, I remember so vividly in like high school, like towards the end of high school when there's like so much pressure on, like where are you going to go to school and like, what are you going to major in and all this stuff. And just, having so much uncertainty of what I wanted to do, what my purpose was. And it was just so like, I felt like such a weight was on me because all my other friends, like they knew they wanted to be a nurse and they knew they wanted to be a teacher and like all this stuff. And I was just like, I don't know, like, what am I supposed to do? And then like, with music, again, it's just so hard and there's so much uncertainty about that. And so I feel like that was just a time of, it was just really hard for me. And then, and when I was in college, I changed my major around so many times. And it was just extremely difficult because I, would start this thing and I'd be like, I'm doing it. I'm good to go. And then I'm like, no, I don't think that's meant for me. And so that was just, a time of so many choices and so many different friendships that, you wonder, like, is this going to be a lifelong friend? And like girls can be catty sometimes. And so just those several years of my life were very like, I just didn't know a lot of things. And once I finally found like my niche of, what I felt like I was called to do and all that, and then met my husband Daniel and everything, and we actually met teaching kids at church, and found like a real good community of families there and kids there. And now I have such a good group of girlfriends and everything. I feel like it was a way for me to, like, even though it was hard, I feel like overcame those obstacles and was able to learn a lot about myself as a person, and dig deeper in relationships, and really now I like don't take anything for granted, and just really appreciate those that helped me figure out the way. And my parents always being so supportive, and Daniel being so supportive, and just the community around me. I know that was a long answer,
No,
but
no, you're good. You're
first
good.
thing that came to my mind.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's great. I mean, I think young kids or teenagers need to know that it's okay if you don't have it figured out.
Hmm.
Like I'm
Oh yeah, there's so much pressure on having everything figured out and having this by this age or this by that age, and you know all this stuff. But really, it's like, what, everyone's just doing their best, and no one knows the perfect timeline. There is no perfect timeline, so we just gotta remember that.
Yeah, I remember when I was going into college, I went to MTSU and I knew I wanted to do something with music, but wasn't quite sure. So I changed my major just like you did several times, and I'm still not done. I'm
Yeah.
still working on getting, because I just went back and forth. But hopefully, once COVID is done, I'll get done and I'll get my full teaching degree. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tough challenge because there are so many options in America,
Oh yeah,
which is a
definitely.
good thing, but too many options can be very overwhelming.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had this fear too of going into the music industry. You're just like, I wanted to have a family and I wanted to have a balanced life. And I thought the music industry was going to be like, you never get to see your family, which is not true unless you let it become that.
Exactly. That's so true. Yeah, I mean, I remember, growing up, like my mom and dad, they, stayed busy with the music industry, but they were obviously still great parents. And my mom would, have to go out of town for the ACM awards and CMA awards and stuff like that. But I remember, she would always like bring us back surprises and like little goodies from like the after parties. And then once like I actually started getting old enough to, like travel and like be more of like a help instead of like, running around everywhere. Then I actually got to go, like she took me on trips with her where I could actually help and like, be backstage and help with red carpets and stuff like that, which was not only great quality time, but great learning experience and stuff that I can bring with me on down the road.
Heck yeah. Yeah. When I feel like God gave me my vision of going into music, I felt like my daughter and Adam, they're in it with me. It's just,
Definitely.
you can figure it out. You don't have to have it all, etched in stone.
Oh yeah.
As long as you've got some faith and perseverance and balance, you know, all that. So I saw in your bio that you were on stage with Cherryl Crow.
Yes.
How did that come about?
Yeah, that was actually so cool. I was headlining a show at Lipscomb, which is, a school here in Nashville. And they do it's like a community festival type thing, again, pre-COVID, where they get all these jumpy houses and food trucks. And they do like a huge community event before the football games. And so I graduated from Lipscomb University. And so I'm still, good friends with a bunch of the professors and just a lot of people there. And so they asked me to headline a show, and which I did, and it was so fun. Got to do a full band thing on this ginormous stage, and it was beautiful weather. And then afterwards, they have security and everything. And I was coming down from the stage, and the security lady was like, Ashlyn, Cherryl Crow is down there. She's asking if she can come up and talk to you. And I was like, what? I was like, me? And she was like, yeah, she's down there. And I was like, well, yeah. And so she came up, and, she's like, you did great. And I love your music. And she was like, can I get a picture with you so I can post it? And I was like, shouldn't it be the other way around? Me
Right.
asking for you, with you. And so we got a picture together, and we talked for a little bit, and she put it on her Instagram and everything, which was super cool. And just so sweet and so supportive. So that was definitely a highlight. That was awesome.
Yeah, I love it when artists, they humble themselves enough to start reaching out to the next generation.
Yeah.
This and everything. So
yeah, that was awesome.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool. I bet you were like, okay, God, you can take me now.
Yeah, I know. I was like, okay, I'm good. Yes.
Yeah. See, what do you feel like the higher purpose from your music is? Or are you just kind of doing it because you like it? Is there a higher purpose for it?
Yeah, I have a huge heart for kids. I absolutely love kids. Like I said, I met my husband teaching at our church. We go to Ethos, and I have been on the kids team there. Oh, goodness, I started when I was maybe a freshman in college, and started out with the pre-K kids, and then got to work with the kindergarten kids, and I just love kids. I always have. I've grown up babysitting, and I still nanny to this day. And I just I always want my music to be, age appropriate, or if it came on the radio or something like that. And when my little Sunday school girls or something heard it, you don't have to change the channel and be like, okay, we can't listen to that. And just, songs that are uplifting and positive, and, just encouraging, people to be themselves. And, when it comes to, I need to feel this, being able to get in touch with their emotions, and, saying, hey, it's okay that you're sad. And so, yeah, just being able to really touch other people's lives, and, be vulnerable with them. And I think it's just so important to, be real with people, and let them know that life is not all, butterflies and roses and all this stuff. And there's definitely obstacles and hardships, but you can definitely overcome those as well.
Yeah, definitely. So you've performed, excuse me, I'll edit that. You've performed at Bluebird Cafe, Hard Rock Cafe, Tootsie's, Listening Room, and the Nashville Palace.
Yeah.
Those are pretty intimidating places to perform, if you ask me. What do you go in? How do you go into that situation? How do you go into a performance and with a certain mindset, and how do you help calm your nerves, all that?
Yeah. Well, I'm always just so grateful to be, able to play places like that. And it also helps my family is also so supportive. So like every single show, I've got my husband, my mom, my dad, my grandmother, like the whole crew. So that helps to be able to, look out and see them there. And a lot of times I'm doing writers rounds and stuff with good friends. So that helps calm the nerves where we can, kind of banter back and forth and, just support one another and everything. And it's more just, like a big group of people just hanging out. And one cool thing about the Bluebird, for instance, is that like it's so intimate. So it's almost like you're just sitting in your living room, playing for people as opposed to, being on a huge stage, like being so far away from people. So that's cool that it's just, I like the intimate feeling and everything. So yeah, but my family does a great job at kind of whenever I have nerves being like, you're gonna rock it, and like it's gonna be so fun and all that. And the audience is always so great too, and interactive and supportive as well. So that definitely helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps when you have a good audience, because when it's just dead, you're like, okay.
Exactly.
Like, all right, apparently I stink. All right, I'll get off the stage. You just don't know what's going through their minds,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
receptive to something, or if they laughed or something. It's like, okay, I can chill now.
Doing good. Exactly. Yeah.
Doing good. So what are some things that you do to get ready for a performance?
Yeah, I obviously love to, go through my songs and do some vocal warm-ups, and I try to drink a lot of water that day just so I'm hydrated. And then, just the getting ready process, I love to get all glammed and, you know, put put on my makeup, curl my hair, and just yeah, after that, then I'm good to go. And a lot of times I enjoy like just listening to music in the car to calm my nerves, and if I need to go over any other songs in the car. But then after that, it's showtime, and I'm ready.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on celebration conversations with me. It was
Thanks
awesome.
for having me.
I'm glad we got this internet stuff figured out.
We got it. Teamwork.
Got it. Yes.
Figured it out.
Yes.
Hey there, thank you so much for listening. Don't go just yet. I would love if you headed over to iTunes and left a review. It makes a huge difference in getting celebration conversations out there. Let's celebrate together. While you're at it, make sure to share this episode on Facebook, Instagram, or wherever your social media platform is. Come find me on Instagram at styoungmusic. Be sure to check out Ashlyn Grayce on socials at Ashlyn Grayce. Also check out her EP on iTunes or wherever your streaming platform of choice is.
Caught up in the music, caught up in the moment, caught up